This idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff. You should get over that quickly. The world is messy. There are ambiguities. People who do really good stuff have flaws, but I do get a sense sometimes now among certain young people, and this is accelerated by social media, there is this sense sometimes of the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people. And that's enough. Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out. That's not activism.
Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Like It Ain't. I love that intro with Barack Obama.
Love it. Love it. Perfect.
Oh, yes. Man.
Oh, my goodness. So on point with it.
Nicole, what did you think about that intro that we just saw?
Well, I mean, first of all, I just love Barack Obama. I mean, he is just, as close to perfection that you can get. I know when when he first got elected, everybody was like, please don't mess up and make us look bad. And he didn't, and he had a beautiful wife and she didn't. And it was just awesome. So, and then I love that I hate even to use the word articulate, but it's just, what I want to say is when he opens his mouth, he knows how to clearly articulate his thoughts coherently, succinctly, and they make sense, and you're just like, wow. Remember Arsenio Hall, like things to make you go, and you're just nodding.
Yeah. It's sad that they've made us take the word articulate almost in a bad or condescending way. Because Nicole, you just said that I hate to say articulate. Why? Because what do they say about us, Vic? They say, "Ooh, you speak so well."
White. You speak white.
Oh yeah,
mighty whites of you. to quote the great George Jefferson.
Mighty white of you, right? And it's sad because I know Mikkel, my wife, the producer of the show, has also spoken about how, years ago, someone might have said to her that she had a white voice. I've heard that before too at times, and it's like, what does that mean? You could talk white. And we all know how to go into that mode. Even the ones that don't normally talk white, we know how to go into that mode when we need to. We grew up hearing mama yelling at you, and then that phone rang when a bill collector called, and she's like, hello. She hangs up. Put down that blah, blah, blah.
You ain't lying.
Shout out to the mamas.
Indeed.
Yes, it's Mother's Day coming up.
Yes. Happy pre-Mother's Day is every day. Forget a holiday.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day to Nicole. Okay. Happy Mother's Day to Vic's wife, MJ. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. My mother. Happy Mother's Day to my mother-in-law, Sharon Drew. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
And don't forget about the ones who are like mothers. They may not have birthed a child, but there's a lot of people, such as my sister, they act in that role. They take on that role a lot of times. So
yeah. Shout out to those mothers as well. And also shout out to my wife, who's a mother of 2 cats. Don't laugh, Nicole. Nicole was like, that's not the same. It's not the same.
But they are like, I mean, they're like human beings, just
they are. Absolutely. They are.
And I would even say, I felt this, I was thinking the same thing about Mikkel. Mikkel, even though, you know, I'm not sure the exact age, we're probably all close in age, but I feel like she wears that motherly hat for these shows, these incredible shows, these platforms from week to week, with being behind the scenes and just how she conducts herself as a whole. So salute to Nicole, and salute to Nicole and Mikkel, both of y'all. I do see you. Yeah.
Yes. All the mothers, all the
mamas.
So for
she
everyone,
gave us a scolding before. I was just gonna say she gave us a scolding before we got on the show tonight.
You see
how sisters do, because I thought she was just coming on giving us some tips. The sister coming in and be like, you see how she was scolding us? That's that sibling.
No, I'm just kidding. No,
I know. But only siblings do it like that. That's my brother's the same way. You know,
where's
the cat? The cat. Look, Mikkel says, "Whatever."
Where's the face with the to the side? Where'd that profile picture go?
That's the 383 design.
383, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's her business. That's nothing but business face. That's. But yes. So thank you for everyone tuned in tonight. We do have a topic. I know we started off talking about mothers and everything, which we should. Tonight's topic is a conversation about cancel culture. A conversation that I think needs to be had. And I appreciate this platform because I think that there are many conversations we need to be having, because I feel like society just immediately jumps and assumes that we're all supposed to be on the same page, but nobody has read to us the guidelines. None of us have discussed it. And what triggered this episode is something that actually happened on Like It Ain't. So for everyone watching, there's a video we're going to play for you guys. We had a promo video a highlight video from an episode that Vic, myself, and Lynn was on. Nicole wasn't here that week, so it was boys' night. So, you know, we was acting a fool.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
If Nicole was there, this wouldn't have happened. So, Nicole, you can't miss episodes because we can't be left alone.
Well, you know, I mean, that might have been a good thing. It brought to light something.
Exactly.
Right.
This is true. Okay. The way of looking at it.
Yes, that's very true. So in a nutshell, let's get right to it. So we're going to talk about cancel culture, but what happened in this episode, after each episode, we do highlight videos. So I did a highlight video that I'd like to show in a moment. What happened was a young lady that Vic and I both know and have worked with creatively saw this video and didn't like what it seemed like it was saying. She DM'd Mikkel about it. She DM'd me. I said, okay, fine. But she still ended up deleting us. She deleted myself. Right.
Canceled.
She canceled.
You got canceled.
Yes.
We got canceled. But mind you, this is a woman who has thanked me for her friendship, for my friendship, because there's been a few times where she kind of bumped heads with me or with what Vic and I were trying to do. And instead of just letting her go, we still would give her a chance because no one's perfect. Absolutely. Sometimes we're going to bump heads, but we need to be able to do that and then move forward, not bump heads and then go different directions. Well, sometimes that's called for, but not here. So, babe, I want you to please show this video so that everyone gets context. And we were talking about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly.
And have I watched the Cosby Show since all of these things? No, I haven't, because you can't really find them on TV anywhere. And I don't have the box sets like that. So, but again, it doesn't tarnish the legacy, just as it doesn't tarnish R. Kelly's legacy. The music's already solidified. It's already classic. Because they
Mikkel said, hold on. I gotta read this. Because Mikkel says, because there was research that went into the Cosby Show. How much research went into filling on your booty? Trust me, a lot of research went into filling on your booty. Too much research went on to filling on your booty.
Yes, I agree. What was that? Was it Seed Popular? Yeah, y'all need supervision. And Mikhail couldn't come from behind the
But
camera.
but here's the
You
thing,
know,
though.
she needs a little whip from the back and just
but
like snap it.
But in all fairness, Mikkel threw us the alley oop.
Yes, she did. She's the one that commented. See, and that's my thing. She commented. So a woman was commenting and joking. Well, really, she took it to the joke. That's what made the joke happen, was when she said that, we went that direction with the feeling on the booty part. But my point is, like, did that come across offensive? Please, people in the chats, Nicole, we want to hear. Because I think she took it like we were backing Cosby and R. Kelly.
Well, let me just take a step back and say, when I watched the Cosby Show, and I have found it online, I don't know if I don't think it's BET, but I think it's some other channel. But in any event, I have seen it recently. You know, just happened to come upon it, and they were playing it. When I watched the Cosby Show, I'm watching it for what it was then. You know, what it was when it came out. That was something that we could be proud of. Am I watching it to you know, to
support?
I don't think I'm support. I'm not looking to support Bill Cosby's actions. And you know what's funny is when you're in law school, a lot of times they come up with these you go through these professionalism classes, and I remember one of our courses, and our professor, they had these little vignettes, and it was these scenarios that what would you do if. And so one of the scenarios was you had someone who was in the KKK, clearly admitted he can't stand black people, blah blah blah, and all that. Would you represent him? Another one was, would you represent someone who was a rapist? Sex offender. You just started your practice.
Wow.
What would you need the money, and what would you do? And I remember one of my classmates said, yes, I take the case because I am defending that person's rights, not their actions. I just say that I am not defending, I'm a big domestic violence advocate, or anti-domestic violence advocate. So I'm definitely not supporting the actions taken by Bill Cosby. And it's funny. I remember listening to, I think it was a DMX or Ja Rule, one of them. And it's a song that I really like, and he was talking about like how he puts, drugs in, drugging them up or something, drugging up the woman. And I was just thinking, like, first of all, I just never understood that anyway. Why would you want the woman drugged up? But in any event, like, I'm bopping to this music, you know what I mean? And so sometimes we have to take a step back and think about what we're embracing in our culture. But for the Cosby Show, it wasn't about Bill Cosby. It was about the whole package, what that whole package represented. And so I don't want to stop watching Bill Cosby. R. Kelly, can't stand R. Kelly, but I have The Chocolate Factory, and that is one of a really, really good album. But let me tell you what I won't do. I will not stream and give him extra money, but I already paid for that CD I had, So none of y'all will know when I'm listening to it, but I'm not giving him any extra money on that. I don't want to do that, but The Chocolate Factory was that I'm sorry,
that right there. Let's go to a couple of the comments real quick. Seed Popular said, I was in that episode and I fully understood the context. So no, I was not offended and didn't take it as offense. Maybe the booty grabbing gesture touched a nerve. Okay. And so now he's blaming it on me.
My face.
Wait, okay, so then I missed that.
What? The grabbing on the booty part?
Wait, did I miss that?
That's what I was doing at the end, because Mikkel's comment was basically saying y'all was looking at researching Cosby, but how much research went into the song "Feeling on Your Booty," and then that's when I was like, a lot of research went into "Feeling on Your Booty." Too much research.
I missed that part. Okay.
But you know, again, that, and to me, it's like, why would you take offense to that? This is a man whose wife, and she knows my wife is, she's met Mikkel online. She knows Mikkel is the producer. You know what I'm saying? So how far out of line am I really going to get? She's the one that came with the joke. Okay. And she said, and they knew what they were doing. His face is nowhere to be seen on that cover.
Well, listen.
Oh.
So the gesture, right. I think it's sort of funny, but I can understand how someone might be offended. But the thing is that the title of the song is "Feeling on Your Booty." You know, be offended by him and maybe the music he created, but you know that's what it is. And so you making that gesture is like, yeah, that's what he's talking about. That's the research he was doing.
No, and me saying that was saying I put research into feeling on your booty, and I was talking to Mikkel. So I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that's my wife. I didn't know.
Talking about.
Like, oh my God!
Don't be talking about feeling on my sister's booty.
Are you talking about intercourse? Oh my God! Sorry, but I was just saying in general, all men did research into feeling on that booty. But again, we were just joking. Now, my thing, Vic, do you have anything to say about this?
Oh, I have plenty to say, but I want you to finish your thoughts. And
okay,
I wanted to read this comment real quick. I don't know if the gesture was that, if that was the gesture that she was offended by.
We don't know, and we didn't ask. And at this point, who cares?
We weren't given the opportunity to ask. There was no communication.
That's the whole thing.
Oh, she canceled both of y'all.
Both of us.
And left Mikkel, who threw the alley-oop, who I have no issues with Mikkel. I'm just saying the consistency wasn't there.
Yeah, you see, Mikkel, he just threw you under the bus. You know
no,
that,
not
right?
at all.
I know.
Not at all.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
That was all the way under the bus. But no, I'm not throwing you under the bus.
Mikkel is my homegirl.
Run you over.
I take no issue with Mikkel. I'm just saying the inconsistency was
I got you though.
You know, the lack thereof.
Yeah, because she didn't block the wives, Nicole.
Not at all.
She didn't block my wife
or my wife
or his wife. She just blocked us. Actually, she canceled all of us. Okay, so Mikkel said she canceled all of us. So this is us canceled. But my thing is though, if you didn't like what happened in the video or you were offended, fine. But let's discuss it. Because she just texted me and was like, I didn't like this. And I just texted her back and said, okay, I'm getting ready to do a show that night. So I don't have time to sit here and have that talk with you right then. But next thing you know, we were canceled. Mm-hmm. There needs to be more conversations.
Which
in some cases.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Well, I'm just, it was just, no, I didn't like it because.
This is exactly what I asked. I said, in what context, what specifically disturbed her about what she saw? What didn't she like? You understand? Know. There was no conversation, no communication at all. None. And just for clarification, I didn't lose any sleep about it. I really technically don't care.
There's no technical.
It's just me. It's the premise for me is you consider us to be cool. You posting captions. Oh, you know, I'm back by popular demand with my boys, my friends, yada yada yada. But your friends, you can't even have the dialogue or take the time to communicate and get some perspective. You understand? Like, how old are you?
Right. And I've taken time to build with this woman. She's talked to me about some of her deep traumas that she said she hasn't shared with a lot of people. So my thing is, I think in some cases we need to have more conversations before cancellations.
If the person feels it enough to have if you consider that person a friend or worth speaking with, if you're calling people your friend or people who you're cool with, and you're up to me and how I look at it through my brain, if you're of a certain age, you should be willing to make that step. Not expected to, but I would just, again, in my head, be mature enough to have an adult conversation.
Yeah.
And that could be they don't have to be long-winded or, blown out of proportion. Just simple context. That's all.
Yeah. Because what she did was she just lost 2 people who were on her side, actually. Like,
well, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I would agree with what Mikkel posted just a few minutes ago about, just she should have given you the benefit of the doubt, just knowing who you two are as gentlemen that you are. Just and at least be honest enough and mature enough, as Vic said, to just say, you know what, I didn't like this because. But I will say that sometimes people don't like confrontation. And so they may be okay saying what they don't like to a stranger or somebody who's not as close. But for those people who are close to them, they don't know how to handle it.
That's a great point.
That is a really good point.
It may have been easier to just say, I'm just canceling them. Now, I think it should have had some dialogue behind it, or it should have had some reasoning behind it. But maybe what happens is when people don't talk, they form their own opinions. So when not knowing that you had a show, you were about to get on a show. And
she knew.
So you were just like,
she was supposed to be on the show with us that night.
It never showed.
Oh, okay.
It never showed up. She just canceled us.
Well, I mean, because what I was getting at is that perhaps she felt that your response wasn't sufficient for her to feel okay.
Yeah. Well, here's a sufficient response right now. Kick rocks with no shoes and socks until the end of time.
To your point,
God bless you.
So your point, Nicole, I'm about to say Nicole. Wow.
Nicole. When they team up, that's going to be their group name, Nicole. Anyway, sorry, Vic.
No, I was thinking the same thing earlier. I was talking to my wife, and I was using the Kendrick Lamar situation this past year with No Name, and I was thinking about how a lot of people
were ready to.
And J. Cole, exactly.
Wait, Kendrick had one too? I don't mean to interrupt you. Or was it J. Cole?
No. Well, No Name and a few other people were ready to cancel Kendrick and J. Cole because they felt that this was the time. These were the two artists that were the closest thing to a Pac, Q, Public Enemy, who weren't being as vocal at that particular time, whether it was the social media platform or through music. So I guess they felt like, hey, where are you at right now? Like, what's up? This is your lane. Like, why are we not hearing from you guys? And people were ready to cancel, not knowing behind the scenes that they were doing marches. They were in the community. They were, doing their thing behind the scenes.
Right.
But to Nicole's point, I kind of like looked at it as, well, people are fickle, so they're quick to cancel people that they don't really understand. It's like fearing what you don't understand. People that you don't know, it's easier to cancel and just cut off, right? Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of that, again, to Nicole's point, with men that she's spoken to, who she's worked with, you would think we would get somewhat of the benefit of the doubt, especially from just a clip that you saw. You know what I mean? You saw a clip. You didn't even get the full context. And it's not that I would have took issue with you for your opinion or your concerns or what may have rubbed you the wrong way. But let's have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
You understand? That's where I'm coming from.
Because where do we grow? How do we grow if it's just like this?
Exactly.
Like, because let's say it was just the boys. It was the fellas. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It was me, Vic, and Lynn. Okay. And maybe a woman sees that and is like, wow, that seems kind of offensive. That could have been locker room talk. But how do we learn to not talk that way if we don't have the conversations?
Exactly right.
Because what it does, this applies to race too. Because what it does, it can make the average person just fall back and be like, forget all of that stuff, and then have a funny feeling towards cancel culture. We don't, because of where our mentality is.
Yo, sorry to cut. Mikkel said exactly what I said. I think it was while we were setting up before the show. Mm-hmm. That episode wasn't even about R. Kelly and Cosby, to get all technical and elaborate about that topic. We were already in joke mode. We were cracking jokes. We were talking about comedies and old sitcoms.
Yeah, and then a question came up. Yeah,
exactly.
Nicole, you were going to say something? If you recall.
You mentioned something about okay, so I'm gonna just make this, and then I want to talk about like canceling what's his name, 50 and
50
no
Ice
50
Cube?
and Ice Cube. But
okay,
you mentioned locker room talk, and You know, remember when I don't want to say his name because I don't want to give him any play.
Agent
but,
Orange. That's why
former
I
president.
said it.
Yeah, former president. When he, was on that, they were on a bus or something like that with the, it was another network guy, and they were talking about, I'm grabbing
That's
her.
the grab him by the P. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when they tried to justify the comment, when his camp tried to justify the comment, they were like, "Oh, it's just locker room talk."
Mm-hmm.
And I get where it comes from. It's locker room talk because before the Me Too culture took off, where it wasn't taboo to notify people that you've been sexually harassed and you did not like it, we accepted that. We accepted locker room talk. We accepted grabbing the booty because it was a man saying that,
Yeah.
So I'm sensitive to people who are in the Me Too movement, have gone through sexual harassment, and I'm sensitive to what their side is, what their arguments are. And at the same time, I don't want us to, I feel like, we have become really, really super sensitive in our society.
Ultra
to the point where you can't make jokes anymore. Because even the comedians, we ridicule them for making jokes.
Yeah.
When all they're doing is just exaggerating life for us and not necessarily saying that this is right or wrong.
Exactly.
I agree.
Well said.
So,
I mean, nothing. Go ahead.
But did we, when we say, okay, when they were talking, grab her by the P, was that acceptable locker room talk?
Oh, they were just dismissive. they were just dismissive with it.
Sorry, Vic and I both were just like,
yeah.
Okay, so see, this is why we have to have these discussions.
Exactly right.
So that both sides can openly speak. Because the average man, the reason why I paused when Nicole asked that question is because on average, you almost don't want to answer that honestly, because people say they want the truth, but men, unfortunately, sometimes know that they don't really want the truth that comes from us. It's sometimes really harsh and dark or perverted, and we need to have these discussions. To me, cancel culture doesn't need to be canceled because there's a lot of things that should be canceled and should be changed, but it has to go beyond just, but we can't cancel every single thing and everybody when there hasn't been an open discussion really about the R. Kelly and the Cosby. People talk about it here and there, but even in the chats, would you guys still listen to R. Kelly? Would you all still watch the Cosby Show? Let us know in the chats what you think. Mikkel, can we cue up the second video? I'd like to show another video that pertains to the same subject, and then we can kind of react to it.
It's been called one of the greatest films of all times, but in today's times, Gone with the Wind has been pulled from the streaming service HBO Max. Long criticized for its racial stereotypes, executives say the film will return, but with a discussion of historical context.
Gone with the Wind is gone from HBO. It's one of the most popular films of all time, but it's also been condemned for ignoring the horrors of slavery. The new streaming service, HBO Max, is now pulling the film, at least temporarily, stating, "These racist depictions were wrong then and are wrong today, and we felt that to keep this title up without an explanation and a denouncement of those depictions would be irresponsible. It will return with a discussion of its historical context and a denouncement of those very depictions." Today, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany tore into HBO, making it clear she was speaking on behalf of the president.
Where do you draw the line here? I'm told that no longer can you find on HBO Gone with the Wind because somehow that is now offensive. Where do you draw the line? Should George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and James Madison be erased from history? What about FDR and because of internment camps.
You may recall that earlier this year, Trump praised Gone with the Wind after the South Korean film Parasite took home Best Picture.
Let's get Gone with the Wind. Can we get like Gone with the Wind back, please?
Megyn Kelly also ripped into HBO's decision to pull the movie. Where does this end? Are we going to pull all of the movies in which women are treated as sex objects too, she tweeted? Let's do this. Every episode of Friends needs to go right now. If not, you hate women and LGBTQ people who also don't fare well on Friends.
Then it behooves me to inform you that you are fired, Aibileen.
Twitter users today are now calling for Netflix to remove The Help from its lineup, criticizing the film for its white savior narrative. Movies not to watch when trying to educate yourselves on racism. The Help, goes one tweet. Oscar-winning actress Viola Davis, who starred in the film, says she regretted taking the role. Other shows are coming under fire in the wake of the George Floyd protest movement. After 31 years, Cops has been canceled over concerns about racial depiction. Robert Thompson is a professor of popular culture at Syracuse University.
A lot of the responses where people have been taken off of the air or fired from their job, or even the removal of something from ready access streaming, have probably been an attempt to be sensitive to the kinds of things that we have not been sensitive to for a long time.
You know, Agent Orange, Don Cheeto. He's orange like a Cheeto. That was interesting, the thing that Megyn Kelly said about Friends. It bugs me out because she sat there and was like, well, are we going to do this for everything with, where they objectify women too? And then that means you don't like Friends. And then that means you hate the LGBT. I don't even know what that meant. I don't even know. Like, sometimes they say things and how is Friends against the LGBTQ community? Does anybody know?
I personally wasn't a huge fan of Friends, so I really don't have too much knowledge or an opinion about Friends.
I've watched it a couple of times, but I wasn't necessarily. I only watched it because it came on, and I didn't feel like turning the channel or something. I mean, that's usually how it happened. I wasn't a big fan of the show. But I will say that I do like Frasier, which I think a lot of it's very dry humor. But I think what you see on there are things, they're depicting these pretentious white men who live in Seattle, and in their white world. And there was this episode when what's her name, Kim from Living Single. Kim, she's a comedian. Can't think of her last name right now. But not Kim Fields.
I know what you're talking about though.
Mm-hmm. She played the cousin. Yeah, so she was on there as this woman. She wasn't, she didn't go to medical school or anything like that, and didn't have a doctorate degree. But she was calling herself Dr. Mary, and right, exactly, yes, that. But what Len said about Friends being a ripoff, but in any event, there are a lot of things that I watch, and I've seen these episodes before, but there are a lot of shows that I've watched before, and now I am now attuned to some of the, when there was an episode where people were like, talking about gay people, and doing all this, and and they made a statement, I thought they were trying to portray these gay couple, and they were saying, I thought that's how, that's the only thing gay I could think of, but there are a lot of things that we accepted in our culture. That's what I'm getting at. There were a lot of things that we accepted in our culture, such as, the locker room talk or whatever, that we really didn't address. So I don't know if maybe there were some things in there where they talked about, the LGBTQ community, or
they
in
just
some
weren't
way
represented. That's all she was saying, is they weren't represented. Because there weren't anybody gay, right? There wasn't anybody gay in the show, but there also wasn't anybody black or Latin or Asian,
exactly,
or anything other than yo skinny pretentious white ass. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I don't know what that was
Lynn
about because I don't know.
said Kim
I've never
Coles.
seen the show.
Kim Cole, yes.
Kim
Kim
Coles
Coles,
is her name. Yeah.
Right.
Can we go to the next video? Because the next, I wanted to show this one last one real quick. This also, I wanted to get you guys' reaction to it. No. Yes.
He's talking to some imaginary person.
I'm talking to the producer. Don't do
Long
that.
before the Me Too era, men acclaimed as creative geniuses were accused and sometimes excused for behavior ranging from inappropriate to outright criminal. The question is, can we separate the art from the artist? And as important, should we?
Can we still laugh at the humor of comic Louis C.K.?
Yeah, I'll go out with you alone at night. What are you, nuts?
Knowing he's been accused of exposing himself to women he worked with.
Men, we're the #1 threat to women.
What about this scene from one of Woody Allen's earliest films?
How much is a copy of Orgasm?
Just put him in a bag.
What? Orgasm. This man wants to buy a copy. How much is it?
Doing a sociological study on perversion up to advanced child molesting.
Is looking away or keeping others from seeing controversial work the best answer?
We have to get away from this angel-devil view of humanity. We're all complicated people, and we have to assume that the people whose art we admire are at least as complicated as we are.
And canceling films or television shows of complicated, even criminal artists, Professor Ross says, can have unintended consequences.
You're talking about costing a lot of people their jobs, a lot of people who get harmed, mainly because of the mistakes that one person can make. I mean, let me be honest. I'd watch The Cosby Show if they put it back on. Because that's an ensemble cast, and you don't want to group punish people because of one person's bad acts.
All right, now put your face right over the bowl.
What is art and what is objectionable is often subjective.
It's about people's ability to not separate the art from the artist, but contextualize the art with the artist. I mean, we're not clones. We're supposed to disagree. That's what a pluralistic society does. But what we're not supposed to do is dispose of each other because we disagree.
100% agree. And this, to that lady's point, Brother Len was saying the exact same thing on that episode that you pulled up earlier about separating the art, Cosby from Heathcliff Huxtable. And that was my point in the context, which the person that you spoke of earlier didn't review or didn't care to, or she did and still didn't care to have that conversation and communication. And I feel like if she had watched the whole episode, she wouldn't have felt offended or whatever she felt. Maybe she would have, who knows? I can't speak for her, but I feel like she would have had more to assess and thought more about before she decided to make the decision she made. And even if she did, so be it. But I completely agree with her statements. I completely agree with Len. And for me, to answer your question, John, from that specific episode, why did I personally choose to cancel R. Kelly? Not even, well, yeah, cancel. and I look at Cosby different, so to speak. I really don't rock with either one of them at this point. Cosby's been in jail, so there's not really anything to go to. That's just like, oh, I support Bill Cosby. But I do refer back to the Cosby Show for entertainment, to feel like what Nicole was speaking of earlier, just that sense of pride and something, to look at for our people that was iconic, had an impact on Black culture. I separated Heathcliff Huxtable from Bill Cosby simply because they weren't the same people. He was acting and playing a role. It's as simple as that for me. R. Kelly was the man behind the music, writing, producing, singing these songs. Age ain't nothing but a number. Oh, so it was really hard for me to listen to these songs the same way and sit there and rock out to these joints. So I made a conscious decision not to support this man. I was done before Chocolate Factory. That album was copied and sent to me. I didn't put any money in that man's pocket or anyone affiliated with him.
Me either, but
way before that.
But I did step to the name of love. I'm not gonna lie.
And that's yours and anyone else's choice to do so. But I do agree with this woman's point of the complete cancellation and being clones and not having a difference of opinions or dialogue. You understand? That's the issue that I feel continues, especially on social media and with, you know, the whole Kendrick Lamar, the J. Cole situation with, because you're not online or you're not like, you're taking small clips and running with that and basing your decision off of those clips and without full context. It's like watching a trailer to a movie, judging the movie before even watching the movie.
And that's exactly what people do now.
Exactly.
They'll be like, this movie sucks. Have you seen it? Because it's not even out yet. You just saw a trailer.
It's corny to me. And especially when you're at a certain age, to the point I was making before, like, you know, these younger kids, I can understand this is what they've grown into. This is their thing. But for somebody who's in their 30s, 40s, 50s and up, it's like, really, dude?
And this person was grown.
Or yeah, exactly. Or miss, like, really? You know, you consider us to be friends, cool, or whatever. Yeah. But there's no, I keep repeating the same thing. There's no context. And that to me, when you make it that easy, and I'll give one more example. Last year, I got into it online with a friend that I knew for years. I spoke about this on my podcast, and it was under a Breonna Taylor post that I put up. And my man just came on, very disrespectful. He gave his opinion. He was like, you know, man, these Black Lives Matter people use the excuse from behind Black Lives Matter to loot, riot, tear stuff up. I didn't do that. My people didn't do that in my country. And it's like, dude, first of all, this is like, do you know what you're commenting under? Like, do you have the full understanding of what you're responding to? So long story short, we had a back and forth, but I didn't cancel my man right away. I didn't cut him off. I wanted to have that conversation and to see if he could understand my perspective, my viewpoint, what may be sensitive or sensitive to me or anyone else reading the post before I cut him off. And it wasn't until I felt like the conversation was going nowhere after a lengthy exchange back and forth. And he made the decision to remove himself and delete me. So I said, you know, hey, adios. It is what it is. I tried, you know, we've been friends for years, so I gave it my best. If that was your decision to make, so be it. No hard feelings. I wish you well. Yeah.
We've got to have more
uncomfortable conversations.
We just do, because to me, for men need to have a better understanding of women as far as the times we live in now and the way we used to live. What is wrong with the way we used to live? Mm-hmm. White people the same with Black people. Everyone the same when it comes to Asians. We all need to learn, but we're not if we're just too busy pointing the finger or being
narrow-minded.
As they would call a social justice warrior, where they're just on social media and they're like, ooh, I got you, or ooh, I canceled you. But what is that doing?
And after just seeing a clip or a snippet, like Jay-Z said, do you listen to music or do you just skim through it?
Skim through it.
Because if that person had, again, watched the rest of the show, got more of the context, you know, I think it would have been a different outcome, because she would have saw that I clearly said that I don't rock with Cosby like that. I don't rock with R. Kelly like that. I've never been raped. I've never been molested, but I am sensitive and empathetic for people who have been in those situations. But I do not understand because I was not in those shoes. But if you don't take the time for us to build from a woman's perspective or a male perspective, how are we ever gonna understand each other?
We're not.
Yeah. I was just actually going to say the same thing that Mikkel just put up. You know, we have such short attention spans anymore.
That's it.
And, you know, and then I like that we have the social media and everyone filming, because there are things like, you know, there were plenty of George Floyds before George Floyd got attention, you know, and plenty of Derek Chauvin's before he got, you know, put on blast. The thing is, so I like the fact that we have people who are these unprofessional journalists, unofficial journalists now, who are documenting and recording and putting it out there for the world to see. But then we also have to be mindful that we can't just jump to conclusions so fast either.
Right.
And because we have so much media coming to us. I watched my daughter one day, and many of us probably do the same thing, but I watched her one day when she's on her phone, and it's just, scroll, stop, scroll. Now she reads really quickly. So, and she processes things really quickly. She's got, like a really smart brain, but I'm just looking at, like, it was like seconds that she's reading something, and boom, she's on to the next story. And it's, it's a Twitter feed or Instagram feed, whatever, and that's how we process things these days.
Yeah.
And, but I agree, separating the art from, because, what that woman said in that video about, you got a whole package. I mean, I'm not a big Roseanne Barr fan, and never really liked her show. But look at all of those actors who are no longer
gainfully employed. Yeah.
They were about to start back up with a new show. You know what I mean? Look at all of the people now who are not getting syndication money from the Cosby Show.
Great examples. Great examples.
And I mean, so it's some people, you do need to hit them in the pocket, because let me tell you, I love me some Power. But the new one coming out, and I was looking at it and I was like, man, I hate to not support, because I know, like, the son, the young brother who played the son, is now the star of one of these shows. I think that's what, at least when I'm looking at the trailer, from what I can gauge from, that. And it looks like, I don't know. I know that there are other people who have talked about canceling 50 Cent, because of what he did last year. And now don't want to look at Power 2 and the rest of the Power series because of that,
Yeah.
And I'm on the fence about it, because I will tell you, like, if Cosby came out with some stand-up, yeah, I would be like livid looking at him. You know what I mean? But when I watch the Cosby Show, I don't even look at him. I'm looking at the whole episode and what it represents. And so I don't know if I can. It was a struggle, because I was looking at this next Power series, and I was trying to figure out, do I want to watch this, or do I want to, do I even want to give him my money by streaming this thing now? Sometimes we have to hit people in their pocket, but I don't know that I necessarily agree so much about canceling everything. Sometimes it is a conversation, but I think I can understand how people will say, you know what, I'm not watching your show anymore, because that's the only way that you can get their attention.
Well, see, and to your point, and John, hold on one second. This is why I had an issue when the whole Ice Cube thing came up. Now, people had a right to their opinion. They had a right to not feel the way he went about, the whole Trump and Biden approach. But does that one instance compare or measure up to all the years of work, of music, of time, of effort, community work, humanitarian work that Ice Cube has put forth? Hell no. To me, no. Hell no. So I was not ready to cancel Ice Cube.
Yeah, it made me pause for a second. Yeah. On Ice. But yeah, we didn't want to just cancel him. It's a whole conversation. Like, we need to really have more discussions, because we talk about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, but there's such different cases.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, each case is different, obviously. And I saw Seed Popular said, but Seinfeld is still in syndication after Michael Richards' racist rant.
Oh, that little episode, yeah. I was never into that either.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a huge Seinfeld fan.
Really?
Huge on Seinfeld.
Yeah, I was never into that one either.
But with the Cosby Show, even when that clip came on, me personally, I can't get past Bill. When I see him in the Cosby Show, I get distracted. I start thinking about this man, and I'm not watching the episode. Me personally. So I haven't been at a place yet where I'm able to separate those two with Bill. R. Kelly, I wasn't really bumping his music anyway, even though he's amazing. So there wasn't anything for me to cancel there. But like, how does everybody else in the chats feel? Like, are you canceling Bill Cosby? Are you canceling? And what does canceling really mean?
I saw Len in the questions asking who's doing the canceling and why.
And why? Because, you know, even if, let's say, like Nicole said, let's not watch Power, we're not really hurting 50's money.
No.
Well,
at this point.
And
we'll hurt that show. And like the lady said, go ahead.
I just want to make sure I'm not misquoted here because I don't know who's watching or ever going to watch. Clip. And I don't want it to be like, oh, this person, you know, and I'm a nobody. But I don't want somebody saying that I'm saying that I'm cancel it. Let's cancel Power. What I'm saying is that I know that there are people who have said that, and it has given me pause too. I still have not made a decision to go ahead and support it. However, yes, you make a good point. Me, one and only person doing it, maybe 10 people doing it, maybe 100 people doing it, it's not going to put a dent in his pocket. But if you got a number of people saying, you know what, that's inappropriate, no, and we're not supporting you and your work because of it, it does make a difference. And I think, though, we do have to find a way to get to people to say what we are going to stand for. You know, we're not going to be marginalized in your videos anymore. We're not going to be, portrayed in these denigrated ways.
Why are we canceling 50? Because he was a Trump supporter?
It was it was the way he came out and he was talking about I'm trying to remember the full details about that, but I think that it was around the elections and everything. And I think even with Ice Cube, I didn't disagree with what he was saying. I just disagreed with the approach. Why are you doing it now? This is too important right now. Your thing is not going to be dealt with. And to think that even that president would have done anything. First of all, where you come from, you know, your background. Why are you falling for the okie doke? You know what I mean? He's going to tell you that, oh yeah, we'll listen to you. Really? And you think that he really is sincere about that?
Yeah.
I didn't understand how, I don't know if it was, I'm neutral. You could be independent or you could be pro, whatever party you want to or whatever candidate you want to. That didn't matter to me because I respect people's differences.
Right.
But the thing is it was just the way he went about it, and the fact that he felt that, he gave me an ear. Well, of course he's going to give you an ear because he's trying to get the black vote. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I just and to not be astute enough, and I can't even think that he wasn't astute enough because he's a good businessman. And he's got a background that you got some street smarts. So I didn't understand all of that.
I think we're going to check the chats in a second. In my opinion, I think people like 50, people like Ice Cube, they need a slap on the wrist type thing. But we need to save our energy of canceling for things that are really affecting us. 50's comments or what he said isn't really affecting or harming the people.
Right.
And he walked them back later, but hey.
And neither, of course he's going to walk it back, and neither was Ice Cube's. Now, what Bill and R. Kelly did, that physically caused trauma, harm, and damage to actual people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, so to me, we have to look at these things individually, but put them in their proper place. Like, okay, 50 and Ice Cube is over there, Bill and R. Kelly, and even Woody Allen. Like, to me, I'm not going to lie, I used to be a Woody Allen fan when I was years ago. I used to like some of his movies. But,
I'm starting to look at you differently. The Woody Allen, Seinfeld.
I was a huge Woody. I was a Jew, ish. Can I say Jew anymore? See, that's the thing.
You gotta make a video clip.
and say Jew, which to me, I don't even know why that's offensive, because it's just short for Jewish. They don't want you to say Jew. Like I've seen in movies where somebody said Jew and they'd be like, ooh, you can't say that. You can't call a Jew Jew. You have to say Jewish.
And the thing is, Nicole, with all that good stuff that you just spoke on just now, some people will probably go like midpoint along this video and just focus on what you said prior versus you saying, let me just make clarification on what I said prior. It was like, you know, giving more context and just run with that clip and that's it.
And
that's
do you know why, Vic? Do you know why that happens? Well, at least in my opinion, that happens because people try to, because social media has fostered this thing where people tend to try to find information, video clips, articles, all types of things that back their stance.
Well said.
If you're saying something that's against that stance, you'll get ignored to the end of time, or you'll get canceled.
Right.
You know, but no one, like, to me, it's an amazing mental exercise to look at someone that has a different stance than you and actually try to understand it.
Right.
Even if you don't walk away agreeing with it, you don't have to be converted, but at least try to understand. We take more time to understand animals than we do each other.
Yep.
That's true. I like listening to the other side because I just want to hear, why do you think that way? Why do you
view things that way? Yeah.
Why do you think differently than I do? You know, what am I missing?
Right.
And the thing is, John, I have no problem with the fact, like, I made my choice and not rocking with the R. Kelly music. Like, me personally, I don't play it. I'll go to Avant, who sounds just like him, or Aaron Hall if I want that feel. But my point is, you're saying that you still rock with it. My man in the comments said, I didn't throw away my R. Kelly collection. I'm not having like a fit or, you know, draws and like bundle, you know, it's not that serious to me. Like it's your choice. It's as long as I know you as a man, your integrity, your morals, how you treat me directly as a person, it's all good. You know, and this goes back to the point with that other person with these comments, man.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know what? I tell you what, before we go, I want to get to a couple of the comments here that we didn't get to.
I love this topic, man.
Yeah. And there needs to be there needs to be more of this conversation and these kind of conversations, because we're just scratching the surface.
The surface.
You know,
I had a whole lot more to say too, but
let's do a part two. Let's do a part two. We could do a part two this month and just boot the other episode that we were going to do.
I'm down for that.
If need be.
All for it.
So in the comments, Seed Popular said, if Cosby Show was still syndicated, I would still watch it. I have R. Kelly albums in my collection. I haven't thrown it in a bonfire. Steve said Ice Cube got the gas face on that move. Yeah, the gas face. Yes. That's
correct me if I'm wrong. The point that I want to reiterate with the R. Kelly and the fact that Bill Cosby, that their legacy is still solidified, is the fact is, before all of these situations occurred with them, with R. Kelly, with Bill Cosby, we watched the Cosby Show. Most people were here for it. We thought it was a classic. The impact has sustained already, is my point. R. Kelly's music, for the most people enjoy his music, consider it to be classic. That the legacy that is solidified, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, because of the situations that has occurred with the two of them, it's moving forward. It's your choice to whether you support, like Nicole said earlier, whether I choose to stream or put money in their pocket or whatever. That is our choice to do moving further or not.
Yeah.
But the impact is already you can't change history, is my point. That was the point I was trying to make with the whole legacy.
Is Vic, or is you listening to Feeling on That Booty make you someone? I know I had a lot of emphasis on Feeling on That Booty. Too much emphasis on Feeling on That Booty. Anyway, sorry. Flashback. Okay, but does any of us listening to an R. Kelly song, in all seriousness, make us someone who agrees with or advocates their actions? No. And that's really the bottom line. We have to get past this place where we're saying, oh, well, if you're watching or listening to this, you're an advocate of their actions. Because if we're going down that rabbit hole, that's a very long rabbit hole that goes a long way. Because y'all listen, Edgar Allan Poe, a poet that they still speak about, he married his 13-year-old cousin.
Mm-hmm.
She's barely a teenager at 13. And she's his cousin. And he's revered across the world. Just like Woody Allen is still directing. Roman Polanski back in the day raped a young teenage girl that was 14 years old. This dude just went to another country so he wouldn't, face any charges. He still is directing overseas and being honored at the Oscars as of a few years ago until they were like, wait, what the hell is going on? So if we're going down that rabbit hole, it's a long hole.
Let's not be selective. And to take some accountability to your point with R. Kelly, I'll flip that to the point you made last week about James Brown and the fact that we honor James Brown. I'm still rocking with James Brown. James Brown is one of my favorite artists of all times. And he was accused, not even accused, but had situations with women beating, wife beating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's keep that same energy. We can go all throughout hip hop, bitch this, nigga this, nigga that. Like let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Excuse me. Hey,
look at you.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
But you know what?
We need to.
I mean, I think the thing is that we live in this society where it's just you point the finger and you forget. Like what was Michael Jackson's song? I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Exactly.
But people don't look at that man or woman in the mirror. And they are quick to point their finger when none of us are perfect.
We're
all flawed.
They'll sing along with the lyrics, but they're doing this man in the mirror.
Right.
Instead of doing this.
Or they're dodging the mirror. Like, no, I'm not.
Exactly. It's Matrix type, Neo type
and
stuff.
depending on how much we like them is how much grace we give them for their flaws.
And let's not get it twisted. There is race and there's racism infused in this because Michael Jackson, people still boycott. I saw a show where a character talked about not listening to Michael anymore and down somebody else because of the things Michael did. But I'm like, but wait a minute. Michael was found innocent.
Mm-hmm.
A black man was ransacked by the FBI. They looked at his penis and everything, and they couldn't find any evidence.
Speak on it. Exactly.
Because if there was evidence to be found, the FBI gonna find it on a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Find it, plant it, whatever the case you want to believe, they would have made sure that it somehow manifested, and it didn't. But here people still are canceling Michael Jackson. So then that's the other level of this cancellation, because what if somebody gets canceled incorrectly, but now they got the stink of cancel on them?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what some have done with Mike. What?
Well, I was laughing at Mikkel's comment about OJ. I mean, I think about if you put it in the context of being in court in a trial, a lot of times it's not necessarily what if you're guilty or not is what you can prove, so
that's that lawyer talk right there.
I mean, everybody, now look, it would be very, 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 very difficult to put away some Michael Jackson stuff if he got convicted on something. But everybody, I think around town, whatever that town was, when he did that interview, and we were like, but Michael.
Oh, you mean
you thought it was okay to be in the bed?
Yeah. Okay, so, Michael pushed it, the limits.
Right.
Even with the baby out the window, What did he name his baby? Spider or something like that?
Blanket.
Blanket.
Yeah, Blanket.
He had on the Spider-Man
That was
mask, is what it
crazy.
was. So there was some crazy
I was like, what was he
factors.
doing?
But we have to also look at the fact that this is a grown man who never had a childhood.
Right.
He was ours from childhood, from 5 years old. He was ours. He was never just a child. I'm not trying to excuse, but I'm just saying.
Right. That's true. I mean, the thing is, think about all of the things that you have going on in your own life. And if somebody were to sit and judge you based on those things, and though, that you're still this great person, this great woman or man, you do a whole lot in the community, or you do, for other people, you're great at your craft, but you got little demons of your own. You know
As
what I
we
mean?
all do. Right.
And people put that on blast and judge you for it. I mean, I think, we definitely have to look at that man or woman in the mirror before we start judging everybody else.
And to Len's point and what the woman was saying earlier, we all have good and bad. Some of the point earlier with James Brown, like I'm that's a huge, anyone that knows me knows that's a huge button pusher with me is domestic violence. Any man putting his hands on a woman. I think it's wrong either way. Women on men, men on women. I can't stand it. But I would be lying if I said that I wasn't a James Brown fan, or there was other people who have committed the same crimes or acts of violence, that I didn't like or entertain. I don't agree with it. I wouldn't support it, overall. But have I put away some of their albums? Have I stopped watching some of the movies? You know what I mean? Big Pun, great example. A lot of people don't talk about that. Very taboo to talk about. Everybody praises Pun, super lyrical. He's nasty. He's legend.
I'm not a player. I just crush a lot and all
exactly.
that. Yeah. But he used to beat his wife. It was well documented.
Biggie with all his
kids,
pistol whipping,
all types of everything.
Taking little kids and doing this with the little kids and the verses. Like, come on, let's keep that same energy and that consistency, man. It was so perfect.
It's a tough fight that we all have to
all of us
fight. But the thing is, we need to fight it together and not against each other.
Right.
We need to be in it together. And they said hip hop. Yeah, there's a lot of hip hop. You should almost just cancel hip hop and just start over again.
Misogyny, all that. Yeah.
Okay. Like I wish hip hop could have just stayed from like 82 to like 93 and just stopped right there. But that's the anyway.
We need a part 2, part 3.
We're gonna do a part 2 next episode.
I'm ready for it. We're
gonna do a part 2 to this because there's so many people to cover. Like Gina Rodriguez, that was the actress who said the N-word. I think. Probably, I think was she reciting a lyric to a song or something?
Could have been.
And they got on her about that.
Same thing. What happened with Jay?
The N-word and all of that.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was saying earlier. That's what I was saying.
We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here, Vic. We gotta go. Vic,
tune in next time. Tune in next time. Tune in next time, y'all. I'm telling y'all.
So
it's gonna be some stuff, man.
We like to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. And understand that Like It Ain't will be happening every first and third Friday of the month. Okay. So if you don't remember, you just remember the first and the third Friday of every month. Subscribe to the channel so you don't have to remember. You can get reminders. We can remind you, hey, there's a show coming up. Get off your butt and watch.
Check us out on our social medias where we promote and highlight some of these highlights that we spoke about earlier this evening. You'll find on our social media. So any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Any one of us, Nicole, John Pelham, Mikkel Pelham, Vic Virtuous.
Oh, I gotta get me a something.
Well, you type it in
y'all
there.
Look cool and stuff. Okay,
producer, can we give her an @ real quick before we go? We're not leaving until Nicole gets her @
Okay. I'm gonna figure mine out.
There you go.
There's your hand.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nicole. See what I'm saying? This is what we do. But so we want people to keep tuning in. Come back. In 2 weeks, we're going to continue this conversation because there's so much to say. We want to hear from you guys.
I was just thinking that, yeah.
We want to hear the people in the chats. We want to hear your opinions. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for a great episode of Super MC. We will be covering the native tongue family. I'm looking forward to that because my favorite groups were in native tongue.
Same here.
I was cut from that native cloth. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So,
yes.
And our brother Silent Night will be joining us.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait. And in a few weeks, this month, we're going to have an episode of Super MC that's 88 till infinity that Nicole might be joining us for.
Oh,
how
no
about
problem.
that? Yeah. Now it's everybody is seeing it now. So now you kind of got to show up.
I guess
Sorry.
so. Now.
Loving it.
You're gonna enjoy
Can't
it.
wait.
Though. You're
Can't
gonna
wait.
enjoy it. Trust me. I put some songs in there especially for you, Nicole.
Some instrumentals.
I got some stuff.
Okay,
Oh no,
okay.
I'm not. I didn't. Don't.
Oh, what? You wanted me to get on the MIC?
Nope.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to put any pressure
go
on
right
you.
now.
Is what I'm saying.
No, MC Nene is retired.
That's what I'm saying. See,
that's disappointing. Something to look forward to.
Vic,
Hey, we still have time between now and then.
We still have time. We still have time.
I have not honed that skill.
The right beat might change her mind. We'll see. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. You are part of this community, and we appreciate you for joining us. So enjoy your Friday. Come check us out again on Saturday. Have a great weekend, y'all.
Happy Mother's Day. Be safe, y'all.
Peace, love, and hair grease, or TCB. Because if your hair is short and